Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So yeah, today I want to talk about this highly anticipated matchup between Bradley and Marquez, a fight that I've been looking forward to for the last 2 years. I thought it would never happen. Tim Bradley, he's been looking forward to making this fight for the last 3 years, to no avail. He had been calling out Marquez for quite some time. And finally, the fight is here. So the question now is, what is Tim Bradley going to do with it, right? When it comes to the sport of boxing, guys, there are keys to being victorious, just like there are keys to, having a successful career, etc., etc. But before I talk about keys to victory, I want to talk about the many things that don't necessarily help you become victorious in a fight, that many fighters and many fans seem to think really helps, right? Let's go ahead and get into it. First off, pride does not help you win a fight. What country you come from does not help you win a fight. The heart that you have does not necessarily help you win a fight that much, I would say. Okay? In certain circumstances, having a little additional heart, it can pull you out of a fire. But for the most part, it doesn't really help you win rounds. It doesn't make you a better fighter. I bring this up because, talking to people on the streets, listening to comments on YouTube and blogs, and it seems that, you have this small percentage of people who are very narrow-minded, and they're blinded by their own pride, by their own country that they come from, and they feel that, the person with the most heart, pride, and all of this stuff helps you win. If you don't believe me, listen to what Marquez said, in a fight leading up to Mayweather versus Marquez in 24/7. It was interesting because, he got asked this question a million times. Every Floyd Mayweather, opponent, they get asked this question. The question is basically like, Floyd Mayweather has 40 plus wins. No one has ever been able to solve the puzzle. How are you and why are you going to be able to beat Floyd Mayweather and solve the puzzle, right? How are you going to beat Floyd Mayweather? And Marquez, he basically responds, that's an easy question. He didn't say that's an easy question, but I'm paraphrasing. So, Marquez is like, well, that's an easy question. I'm going to beat him because I'm Mexican, right? I'm going to beat him because I'm Mexican and because I have a Mexican heart, right? It's like, in a certain sense, he's telling the media and everybody, that's my blueprint. How do you beat Floyd Mayweather? You be Mexican. You be Mexican with a whole lot of heart. And everything else every other problem would solve itself. It's pretty much what Marquez was saying, right? But we all know how that turned out. We know Marquez, he ended up going in that fight, not winning a single round. He landed less than 12% of his total power punches in the fight. He was never in the fight, right? He was never in the fight. And, by Juan Marquez's own admission, you go back and you watch 24/7, Marquez is talking about, I'm in the greatest shape of my life. I put the weight on the proper way, so I'm not going to be weak. I feel stronger than I've ever felt before. The man is drinking piss. He was hanging out in oxygen tanks like he was created by scientists, and then all of a sudden he loses to where it wasn't even competitive, and then he wants to say, oh, it was because I was too small. But then later on, he says after the Guerrero fight, when they ask him, do you want a rematch now that you're a full-fledged welterweight? He says, nah, people, everyone already seen what happened in 2009. So I think it's better that I go my way and Floyd Mayweather goes his way, right? So, okay, the point I'm making, let me get back into talking about pride and heart. So, I'm going to tell you guys something right now. I don't believe that a person has a bigger heart because he comes from a particular country, right? Because when you guys really, really think about it, I done seen fighters of every different race, nationality show some tremendous heart, way more than the average fighter. You go all the way from Evander Holyfield to Arturo Gatti, Mickey Ward, Barrera, Morales. All those fighters that I just named, you can't tell me that any one of those fighters showed more heart than the other. As far as I'm concerned, they all showed tremendous heart, right? Heart is not determined or is not based on what country you come from. Heart is based on the individual. The individual is the person that determines how much heart he has, how much balls he fucking has. You always hear ignorant people talking about, what fighters run, what fighters don't run, and all this silly ass talk. But if you really fucking sit down and think about it, we done seen fighters of every single race quit on a stool. We done seen or quit right in the middle of fighting, right? We done seen every single race show a tremendous amount of heart. We done seen every single race, quote unquote, run in the ring or back up in the ring and fight an intelligent fight instead of just running in balls to the wall, just getting hit and hitting the person back, right? We done seen fighters of every single race, nationality, use lateral movement, ring generalship in the ring before, okay? So, you can't base how tough you are by what country you come from as well, all right? Now, and I hope that made sense for some of the ignorant people who listen to these videos and post ridiculous-ass messages. If you can prove to me that your race or the other guy's race, we don't have any guys that run or move around the ring from our race. My country, they all fight the exact same way. They all pull their balls out and charge after you like a raging bull. You show me, you prove that shit to me and we'll have a goddamn conversation. Anyway, let's get into this goddamn breakdown of this great fight, Bradley versus Marquez. Let's get it. So let me go ahead and dive right into this before I go any further. I'm going to tell you guys right now, I think this fight is really going to come down to what Tim Bradley shows up. If this is the same Tim Bradley that beat Manny Pacquiao, I truly believe that Tim Bradley is going to shock a lot of the uneducated fans and he's going to beat Juan Marquez very easy. And I'm going to explain to you guys why I believe that. Remember, I never just say something without detailed facts that make sense, right? Now, if this is the post-Bradley Manny Pacquiao type Tim Bradley, then I believe Marquez has a very good chance of beating and possibly even knocking out Tim Bradley, okay? Which I'm going to explain that scenario as well, all right? But let me first explain why I believe that if this is the same Bradley that beat Pacquiao, he wins very easy. It's very, very simple. Keys to victory, in my opinion, and not just my opinion, I think this could be considered fact. The smartest fighter, the best defensive fighter, the fighter that makes the least mistakes, 9 or 8 times out of 10 will almost always win. Even you guys, even haters will agree with that, right? Okay, and the person who does all of those things better would be a Tim Bradley, all right? Tim Bradley, if you look at all of his fights versus all of Marquez's fights, Tim Bradley has showed a far better defense. And this is why I say it all comes down to this being the Bradley of old or the Bradley of new. Okay? If Bradley can go back and he can pull that old Bradley out that beat Manny Pacquiao, that beat Lamont Peterson, and all these other fighters, then he's going to win this fight easy. Like I said, the reason why is because Tim Bradley, he has a great defense. Tim Bradley, he can fight in the inside without really getting hit too often, with great head movement. And he can fight in the outside and outbox you. like what was showed in the Lamont Peterson fight, what was showed in the Manny Pacquiao fight in the championship rounds. Okay? The problem that Marquez will have if he's fighting against, a Tim Bradley, the best Tim Bradley, the problem that Marquez has is every single fighter that Marquez has fought, Marquez has struggled with them. Marquez has never been dominant in any fight. I mean, especially not against an A or B level fighter. He has struggled against every person that he's faced. All right? Don't get me wrong, Marquez is a great fighter, but he has not been dominant against anyone. And when you think of fighters like Juan Baby Bull Diaz, Mike Katsidas, these are fighters that you would expect Juan Marquez to just run through. But he wasn't able to do that against these fighters. He struggled against them. He made the fight look like Ali Frazier. It didn't look like Floyd Mayweather versus Robert Guerrero. And the reason why Juan Marquez struggles against these fighters is because he has an unusual combination. Juan Marquez is a fantastic counterpuncher with a terrible defense. That is something that you don't see too often. Usually fighters that are great at counterpunching, they have a great defense, right? I mean, Juan Marquez, he's the type of person, he could step back, catch you with a beautiful combination, and then all of a sudden, the guy he just caught comes back and he hits Marquez with a beautiful combination, all right? And that's Marquez's downfall. Defense, defense, defense. I always tell you guys, me personally, I believe defense is the most important thing when it comes to fighting. If you look at the fighters that are considered pound for pound, the best fighters in the world, the majority of them, when it comes to someone like Andre Ward, Floyd Mayweather, Guillermo Rigondeaux, okay, these fighters have a terrific defense, all right? And they have the intelligence to back it up as well. Not only a great defense, but they have a very good offense as well because they have the highest percent accuracy. All right? Juan Manuel Marquez, he makes a lot of mistakes, and I think that he would be tailor-made for a Tim Bradley at his best. He makes way too many mistakes. He gets hit way too much. And if you compare Marquez to Manny Pacquiao as an opponent for Tim Bradley, it seems that Marquez will be even easier for Bradley because he's slower than Marquez. Because Marquez is slower than Manny Pacquiao, right? He's slower, and shit, believe it or not, he might be even easier to hit than Manny Pacquiao was. It's a possibility. And he's not as strong as Manny Pacquiao. I don't care what people say thinking, oh, now Marquez must be juiced up, he's stronger. I don't believe that. I still don't believe that Marquez is as strong as a Manny Pacquiao. Okay, Marquez, he just happened to catch Pacquiao with a perfect counter shot that Pacquiao never even seen. And when you don't brace yourself for a punch, you could be knocked out by a fucking 13-year-old kid. Yeah, at least some people can. You over here talking to your homie and somebody just knock your ass in the jaw from the side. You could be knocked out because you didn't brace yourself. So back to Marquez. So like I said, guys, I mean, if you look at Marquez's record, look at all the guys he lost to. He lost to an American, Freddie Norwood. He lost to Floyd Mayweather. Of course, that's a little bit of an exception. But he lost to Chris John. And then let's look at the fighters he struggled against. He struggled against Casamayor. And these fighters right here are the actual boxers, okay? And they gave him a lot of problems. So that suggests to me that Marquez has problems with boxers, all right? As far as I'm concerned, Tim Bradley is better than all of those fighters that I just named, all right? And like I said, once again, for the Marquez fans that says, hey, everyone knows that Marquez won those fights against Chris John and Freddie Norwood. Once again, it's not really about who we think won the fight. That's fine. If you want to say Marquez won those fights, that's fine. But the fact of the matter is, you would have to agree that Marquez struggled against those fighters. He did not blow them out. He wasn't dominant. And Bradley was dominant against Lamont Peterson, Nate Campbell, Devin Alexander, so on and so forth. And this is the reason why I'm picking Tim Bradley to win this fight by unanimous decision, okay? So I can only make this video for 15 minutes, so I'm going to end it right now. And I'm on to the next one, guys.